Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Melaine Kenyon. I'm the Director for Instructional Technology at SUNY Buffalo State. And this morning we're going to be talking about online video strategies. Online video is playing a key role in higher education today, but it does come with its challenges. Some of those challenges are choosing a video platform and considering all the options and features, funding, supporting, and sustaining that video platform. In this session, we want to explain how the State University of New York and New York 6 Liberal Arts Consortia collaborated within their membership to build a scalable framework and growing digital media collections. So first, we're going to start with introductions. Mike?
So if you could please... My name is Mike Notarius. I'm the CIO of a university-wide program called iTech. Melaine, if you could, I think maybe go down a couple slides.
Scott has the slides.
Scott has the slides. Where's the the cloud? Is it gone? If it's gone, it's gone. No worries. So go back to the iTech by the numbers. There it is. There it is. So iTech is a university-wide program. There are several university-wide programs that provide special services within SUNY. Doug will be talking about Open SUNY in just a moment. There's the Office of Information Technologies, the Center for Professional Development, the SICA Center, which puts New York State modifications onto the banner for all the campuses. And then there's iTech. And if you want to go back to iTech by the numbers, iTech is a private cloud within SUNY. We host LMS for 32 of the SUNY campuses today. We host Banner for about 18 of the campuses today. We do managed services for another 15 campuses. We host DegreeWorks for 64 campuses, library automation for 57 campuses. Basically, we're a private cloud within SUNY providing technical services to our members.
Hi everyone, I'm Doug Cohen, and now that you've seen the entire presentation, I think we're done. Does everyone want a little break? So I'm the Associate Director of Academic Technology for the former SUNY Learning Network and currently the Open SUNY university-wide service. So my world really revolves around online learning, online-enabled learning, and support strategies. So I oversee a team of web programmers, 24/7 call center, and also, we are in a SUNY-wide initiative migrating from the Angel LMS to the Blackboard LMS, and I oversee that project, which is about 30 institutions over 5 years. Yes, exactly. It's a little challenging.
Hi, I'm Jim Forney. I'm a Senior Educational Technologist at St. Lawrence University. I'm within the Educational Technologies group, and I support our LMS primarily, but I'm also tend to be the media person supporting our video editing labs and our streaming media system. And that's what essentially brought me into the New York 6 Media Share project, which we'll talk a little bit more later.
Derek Lustig, Director of Network and Systems Infrastructure at Hobart and William Smith Colleges. And today, Jim and I are actually representing the New York 6 College Consortium, which are comprised of these 6 institutions here. So we'll talk about our implementation of the what we call our private cloud for the Ensemble video system.
Hi, I'm Scott from Ensemble Video. I'm in marketing and sales at Ensemble Video, but don't let that title fool you. I spent 10 years at University of Buffalo as a senior web designer and a media professional, and Syracuse University. So I've had my hands on a lot of tools and technologies in the media space. And really what we are is a video platform. We're helping colleges, universities, school districts manage their video, stream their video. Basically, we're the middleman between all those video creation tools that you're using and all the publishing destinations like your LMS. So I've been working with Mike, Doug, Jim, Melaine, and Derek for a couple years now. So I'm happy to join the panel.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for your introductions. Since we're here to talk about online video strategies, we're going to start with Mike. Mike, when did you realize that SUNY iTech needed to provide a video platform for the SUNY campuses?
Well, actually, one of the SUNY campuses, University of Buffalo, was called upon by Ensemble, and they thought that it would be a good fit for Ensemble to pay us a visit. And so they came and visited our organization, and that led to us developing some proof of concepts and working with an Ensemble and some campuses to test out the environment.
Great information. At my institution, SUNY Buffalo State, we started using the Ensemble hosted by iTech about 4 years ago. Since our move to Ensemble, we've amassed close to 4,000 videos with over 100,000 views. We're using video to bring it in through Blackboard with Video Anywhere, not just for academic classes, but for staff training, and we also use it for student presentations, musical performances, and we connect with AutoSync for captioning for our accessibility initiative. Derek and Jim, can you tell us a little about when and why the New York 6 Consortium knew it was time to find an online video strategy?
I'll go ahead and answer that. Actually, Scott, could you move back to the New York 6 slide? I wanted to take a minute and just sort of outline what the New York 6 is. As Derek said, there's the membership of the New York 6 Liberal Arts Consortium. The Liberal Arts Consortium was established with a grant from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. And what we did is an initiative to facilitate new collaborations of sharing expertise and resources. And essentially, there's been a variety of working groups within the New York 6. Some have been on healthcare and risk management, computer purchasing, basically sort of pooling our respective departments and also expertise, and it drives a little cost savings. One of the early working groups which I was involved in was the Media Share group, and this was primarily an IT library collaboration, and part of the grant was, that they had applied for was for specifically fostering these collaborations. And the Media Share group had a lot of initiatives for collections, digitization, and but they wanted to find a way to share media, what media could be shared, for instance, guest lectures. We've actually started developing classes among, sort of mutually developed classes among the 6 institutions. So it was they wanted a platform that would foster the sharing really well, but also give each institution their own identity and own space to manage content well.
And I would say, as the network and systems person, it's kind of behind the scenes in charge of having all of these 6 institutions come up together with one video distribution sharing system. It was a little interesting in that everyone in those 6 colleges had a lot of media. They also had a lot of media capture and creation tools, and they had all sorts of local processes and opinions about how to manage their copyright systems. So it was kind of a very interesting conversation for us to have as far as how do we come up with one video production system that can get to a variety of users with multiple devices. So just wanted to set the stage a little bit about when we started this in 2013.
Great, thanks guys. When my college was looking for an online video solution, we took time to evaluate the options, and one of our big must-haves of Ensemble, or any video platform for that matter, is how well it integrates with existing or planned technology solutions. So Doug, you're involved in the academic technologies with the SUNY Learning Network and Open SUNY. Have you seen an increase in video use and online learning across SUNY campuses?
There we go, try that again. So for everyone, especially my SUNY colleagues that I see in the audience, this is commonly referred to as our bubble slide or our digital DNA. But what it really talks about, and the goal of putting the slide out there, is not really to focus on it, but online learning, it's extremely multifaceted, and the goal of this slide is to show you the depth at which we're looking at online learning across the SUNY system. To address the question directly, of course, and one of the things we did as we developed Open SUNY in January was we went to 10 economic centers across New York State and spoke to over 500 faculty around the state. And what we found out, one of the top 5 initiatives that they wanted to add in their online courses was video. So that immediately lended us to look across the SUNY landscape and say, okay, well, what do we have? SUNY iTech has the private cloud with an Ensemble offering. So we partnered with SUNY iTech And all of our Open SUNY Plus degree programs, which in the first wave was 8 initial programs, and we have wave 2 coming out in September, which will be approximately another 50 programs, now have this service available to them. In addition to the platform, what we did is we hired, through our Center for Teaching and Excellence, or Center for Online Teaching and Excellence, multimedia development specialists to help faculty create the videos. And then we're using the Ensemble platform to deliver them through a variety of platforms. And some of these are the ones that we're delivering through, whether it's WordPress, Explore, Blackboard, Moodle, Angel. So we've actually put resources behind it to help develop the content, and then are using the Ensemble platform to deliver it across the SUNY system.
Great. Thanks, Doug. Scott, you were involved with all of us at some point in time regarding the selection and implementation of a product. Do you want to add anything else after Doug?
You know, I would say, just like all of you, I mean, I'm just curious, who here has a video platform right now, besides YouTube and Vimeo? So we have, you know, probably 40% of the audience. You know, a lot of you probably were struggling, and some of you might be struggling with managing your media. You're outgrowing YouTube. You might be outgrowing Vimeo. Some of you are instructional technology people who are struggling to support your faculty members because they're creating content in so many different ways. And a lot of those things I just talked about, I heard from when working with the New York Six and different SUNY leads and prospects and campuses. So a lot of things they're talking about, you can obviously integrate video into different parts of your academic programs, online learning, staff development programs. And you know, the big thing is, I think all universities right now, whether they're using Ensemble or another video platform, and there's many of them out there, are struggling with managing it and streaming to many devices as well. So you want to make sure that all of you have different devices here that you can consume this content on your devices. So that's all I have right now.
Thanks, Scott. Now we're going to focus on features, wants and needs across the stakeholders. What are some of the key features that campuses and users want from a video platform? And we'll start with Jim. Jim, what were your faculty looking for in a video platform?
I think with the New York Six, when we went in looking at, one of the key features that we liked was the ability for it to have the different areas. Again, I alluded to this before, the ability to share among the organizations. It's basically the definition of an organization within the instance. The other thing, you know, we wanted something that integrated well with all the systems that we have. In fact, we did a systems inventory. The slide up here sort of shows, it's kind of a challenge because there's 6 different institutions within the New York Six. So, I mean, we had a lot of commonality. Most everybody used Active Directory, LDAP, that's pretty common. But we needed to get a picture of, you know, what server operating systems did they feel comfortable with, database systems. Learning management systems was a big spread. I mean, we have Sakai, Moodle, Blackboard, Canvas, just to name a few. So we're very different in that respect. So we wanted something that would integrate with all of those and work really well. Scott just alluded to it too, and it's been a challenge with what our existing local video system was. Support for mobile devices was a big one. So, of course, Windows and Mac operating system, but also iOS and Android devices. So.
Great, thanks, Jim. I know at Buffalo State we were looking at ease of playback on mobile devices as well as a feature set. Also, faculty control over their own video content for intellectual property. And we were also looking at copyright compliance. The access point feature is very helpful with that. And again, the ability to close caption. One of the great things that we were looking for with these features is that SUNY iTech and Mike Notorious here are right on our campus. So SUNY Buffalo State is in Buffalo and SUNY iTech has space on our campus. And they ended up hosting Ensemble for us. Mike, what did your technology team look for in terms of scalability and flexibility?
Well, first we're looking for something that integrated into the LMSs because we thought that would be critical for the future of Open SUNY. We're also looking for a solution that we could host centrally and build upon our existing infrastructure, our disaster recovery, and that would also have delegated administration because we're a service provider, but we're small. There's 51 of us in our shop, and we're providing services across SUNY, across various technologies, and we wanted to make sure that the application could scale. Another critical factor for us, actually, as we were just talking about this before the session began, was the ensemble themselves, the partnership and the relationship, and they're always there for us to help us through any hurdles we're trying to get over.
Great. Derek, what about the New York 6? I understand the New York 6 platform is hosted in the cloud by Ensemble Video. Why did you choose the cloud over an on-campus solution?
Well, it tickles me when Mike says he only has 51 people to support the back-end system. So the New York 6 is really representing the smaller institutions. I think the biggest one is probably 2,500 each. So what we were really looking to do is implement something that was flexible for us. Obviously, either one of the 6 institutions could have said that, hey, we'll host this for everyone, but no one really stepped forward. And realistically, we really wanted to manage the local processes and respect the local processes that each institution has, because even though we're 6 liberal arts institutions, we all do things differently. So what we decided to do was to pull together our resources. We were actually very nicely surprised and pleased as we came together as a consortium that there were efficiencies in licensing costs. We went from 2,500 to more than 10,000, which for us is huge. And we were also able to predict and trend what our storage needs would be. So we had some institutions that didn't have a lot of video storage, and we had some that had a good amount, but we were able to leverage the total pool. So that was really key for us. The other thing that we did was we were really pleased by the way that this system was enabled us to preserve bandwidth. That is an issue for our institutions and our campuses here. So we did, most of the heavy lifting is done in ensembles, what we call private cloud. So it's just the 6 of our institutions, when we choose, are able to share content across the 6 organizations. But we have local media servers in each campus. So when there is a request for local media distribution, it's downloaded right from our campus network and not coming from the general internet. So the flexibility of the system was really key for us.
Thank you. Well, regarding the learning management system, I know at my campus we acquired Ensemble so faculty could manage their own content, but we also like the Dropbox video feature for students that allows them to upload video content for the faculty person to assess. Our music and education departments are using this right now, and faculty can use the Ensemble annotation features to provide feedback. Doug, as a person who's working with the SUNY Learning Network and the SUNY LMS strategy, what are some features that SUNY faculty need from a video solution?
So this was an interesting question for me to answer, because first and foremost, when I showed the bubble slide, faculty and students need a lot of support and services across the entire spectrum of online learning. Obviously, we're here to talk about video. So what's been an interesting sort of walk through in my years of online learning is when you tell faculty that have never taught online, we're going to use video, the first thing they do, does anyone know the first thing any faculty member thinks of? They think of taking their lecture, recording it, and putting it online. So first and foremost, that's awful. Let's not go that route. But first, if you were going to do it, you need a platform to do it. The second thing, I recently started in the world of teaching online, so this was also an interesting experience for me, from having built call centers for online learning and also working with iTech on LMS hosting and support and configurations. So what we do in our courses, I teach 2 courses. One is a workshop on hypertextual theory, and that leads to a web design and development course. And we do a lot of tutorials online. So we'll use Jing or we'll use various platforms to create these videos for online tutorials. The institution I'm teaching for does not have a video platform. So immediately I found scrambling, where do I put my videos? What do I do? How do I access them? How do I have students access them? And what I do in my courses is also in weekly assignments make students create a 1-minute video of their work for the week to walk through it, because you can evaluate a project. What you can't necessarily evaluate is their understanding to create the outputs. In the world of web design, you can go copy paste your code and you're done. So the online video strategies for us are really giving students and faculty the ability to put course-specific content, course tutorials, specific course assignments in a video platform delivered through the LMS, and in some cases we're also using WordPress for my web design and development course. So Ensemble is a solution that is in SUNY, and I'm hoping the campus that I am teaching for does adopt it soon.
Great. Thanks, Doug. Scott, you talk to hundreds of educational professionals every year. What are you hearing from your leads and customers in terms of what campuses need to execute an online video strategy?
I think it's there's a lot going on. I mean, one of the things is how are you making media, and it is very difficult to control that ever-increasing flow of video content. So a lot of times there are tools like MediaSite, which they're using to capture content today, Echo 360, TechSmith's products of Snagit, Camtasia Relay, Camtasia Studio. There's freeware like Screencast-O-Matic. So a lot of times they're trying to figure out at least somewhat of a standard workflow for capture. So it's very easy to support that, deploy that to all their users, which are usually faculty members, sometimes students. Melaine talked about a video Dropbox. A lot of faculty across North America and actually the world are starting to do a lot of video assignments. Whether they don't like grading the old-fashioned paper assignments or they like having the students create content on their iPads, they are wanting to find ways to harvest video content from people, and a lot of times it is students. So we're hearing that a lot nowadays. So really what a video platform does, like Ensemble or other ones, there's a lot of great competitors out there for Ensemble, is they are helping customers capture content in a standard way, manage content, so each of you and each of your instructors can have a video library that they can self-manage so that you don't have to manage it for them, because I'm sure in here there are people managing video for faculty members, and there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of times they want to start distributing that management, and then playing on the device of choice, whatever comes out at Christmas time and holiday time. So that's really what people want. And then some of the stuff Mike was talking about is scalability, because as you start streaming video, you want to be able to stream video to many people across many geographic locations. And we do true streaming too, so it's not having people download content on their machines. We want to efficiently deliver content to users, whether they're on an iPhone in a Starbucks or they're on campus. And Derek talked about that media cache, and some of you might be interested in that. And it does help you cut up your bandwidth. So if a request comes from a local computer on a campus, you watch from the local media server. And if a request comes from the cloud, it goes through the cloud media server. So for campuses that do have bandwidth considerations that they're thinking about, it's a great solution, and a lot of campuses are doing that.
Great. Thanks, Scott. We're going to pivot the conversation from features and needs to deployment. And we'll start with Derek. Derek, once the New York Six decided to acquire a video platform and build a private cloud, what did you do to ensure successful deployment across your consortium?
I panicked in the beginning because the landscape was that the New York Six Consortium had a very generous grant from the Mellon Foundation. So we were really obliged to steward that well, and one of the things that we wanted to do is create a system whereby the 6 institutions could actually share content. So it was very interesting for us to, number one, get an understanding what the 6 institutions are doing. We didn't even put up what people were using to capture, but there were maybe 20 different tools out there. But this gives you a general system of what people were doing. The reality is, back in when we did this in 2012, each institution had a way of doing it, and we wanted to come up with a way to overarch in an overarching way and manner to distribute that. But most importantly at the time were the learning management systems. And we had 8 learning management systems running for the 6 institutions. I'm kind of curious, anyone else have multiple LMSs running at the same time? So we needed something that really addressed that issue. So we spent a lot of time understanding what's out there, and what was important to us in the beginning was that in the year that we had to launch this is that we weren't going to come up with one way to distribute media. So what we did was we actually honored and respected each institution's processes, and then we came up with a way for media that we want to explicitly share between institutions, that we will come up with a process for doing that. So right now we're really good in sharing guest lecture series. We're really good with doing the kind of study abroad programs that are being launched right now on the consortium level. So for us, it was really coming up with an understanding of what everyone has, what devices that they're launching them to, and coming up with a way that we can actually govern this going forward. And I think with the flexibility of the Ensemble system, we were able to achieve that in for us, a relatively short amount of time.
Jim, do you want to add anything? I noticed you mentioned you set in on quite a few training sessions for this, and you also did went through the pilot phase and did a pilot survey.
We ran a pilot with Ensemble They set us up an instance in their public cloud. What we currently have is a private cloud, which is what we ultimately purchased. But to test drive the system in their public cloud, it worked really well. It gave us an opportunity to upload, and we didn't have access to all the administrative features since we were in their public cloud, but it gave everybody the ability to sort of test drive, use the embed codes in their respective LMSs, WordPress, all the different things that Derek had alluded to. Ensemble was great. We even had, after that, at one point, I wanted to make this note, we had an online course that was having trouble accessing video with our existing video system. I won't mention the name, but it was very heavily dependent on Java. And as everybody knows, Java just constantly gets disabled by browser updates and operating system updates. So I actually, I did sort of an extended pilot by running this class in the Ensemble public cloud for a few weeks, and it just worked great. I mean, folks could get to the content that they needed to, and that's really what you need in a system. Training was excellent too. Pat on the back to Scott, who actually did a lot of the training for the group. It was very well organized. I sat in on, as Derek mentioned, the governance structure. We generally had kind of a front-end representative from each of the institutions. It tended to be someone like me, like an educational technology or a media services person, sort of the front-end support, and then there was sort of a back-end server infrastructure type person. And are you going to talk a little bit later about the governance in a little bit more detail? But anyway, so I sat in mostly on the front end trainings, a couple of the back end ones. It worked out really well. Conducting GoToMeeting, had those recorded, so kind of that was documentation that we had. In addition to, they have great support documentation on their website. The things that once we'd completed the trial, these are kind of the areas that the one advantage that we had was we had a lot of folks test driving the system since we have 6 institutions. So we asked them about video quality. Did they have a compress and stream? Did they also upload like high definition quality? Ease of viewing, how many devices did they view it on? So we got, we through the survey and a lot of different people replying, we really got a good picture of use of the system and how well it integrated with the other learning management systems. So.
Great, thank you. So New York 6 deployed across 6 institutions, and State University of New York has 64 campuses. So continuing with deployment, Mike, what is your plan for deploying the Ensemble platform across SUNY's 64 campuses, and how do you inform the campuses that it's available?
So we have listservs that we communicate with and conferences that we participate with and present in and also put on. And we invite people that have gone through proof of concepts and that have played with the environment to present. We have references from campuses referencing other campuses that helps build the adoption. And then we partner with Open SUNY to build it into that solution and integrate it as well. Additionally, we have a wiki where we have a participating institution agreement up there, and we show what other campuses are signed up and who's using it. And it's just a collaborative environment. Unfortunately, we're horrible at marketing. Our organization is a technology organization. Operating system administrators, networking people, and database administrators. But we work with the Provost's office, which Doug is part of, as well as partnering with Ensemble to help get the word out.
Great. Doug or Scott, anything to add?
So I think the luxury Mike has is he has my pretty face going out and marketing his the Ensemble solution. So actually, to me, the only thing to add is actually to echo everything that was just talked about. In SUNY, it's a little bit different. So as Mike mentioned, he does the infrastructure and really offers the Ensemble service. What we bring in is sort of the academic spin on how to implement the service. So the first thing we do when we reach out to our campuses that partner with Open SUNY is say, here's what it's going to take to implement it. So you need to have your resources available. We'll work with you on LMS integration with Mike's team, but we also then facilitate training that Scott has also done. And again, what we provide, which is crucial in any of these initiatives, is that wraparound support. Students, faculty, staff, at any point in time can call us 24/7 to get assistance with Ensemble, the LMS, or any other solution that they're using.
And the only thing I would say is, Mike says he's not a marketing organization, but he does have some great conferences that we've participated in. So he has iTech Wizard, which all the SUNY campuses come to. And just like campus technology, just dedicated to SUNY though. And it's been fantastic where, you know, I'm there for 50 minutes, but he has a lot of vendors, a lot of presentations from the participating campuses, and they're just really getting together, sharing stories, referring to, you know, products to each other and strategies. So I think those are great sessions. It's not happening everywhere. I travel around the United States, and that does not happen everywhere, so I think that stuff's fantastic. And Derek and Jim also did a great job where they were very organized with, I was impressed with their pre-pilot survey. I mean, they really surveyed every single consortium member, tried to figure out how much bandwidth, how much storage. I mean, very, very organized team, you know, on both sides. And then the post-trial survey was also great. As a vendor, you want to know how well you did and how, you know. So we got some great comments, and you got some things we can improve on. So I think they both did a great job of evaluating, and they did their due diligence, and that's key, is they really dug in and tried to figure out, is Ensemble or another video platform the best solution for their campuses, which is difficult.
Okay, great. We're going to go into some final thoughts, and then we'll take questions. Mike, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think the basic thing is you want to make it easy, and Ensemble allowed us to do that easily by they worked with us to create a new licensing model that was very advantageous to us. It lowered the barrier to entry. It allowed us to do proof of concepts at will, to offer campuses test periods at our own terms, and just lower the barrier. So I think you just want to make it, you know, very, very easy. You want to be able to hit the big red button. Having organizations like Open SUNY to help promote it as well was very helpful.
You can just pass the microphone. Other final thoughts?
Let's see. A couple of things I was thinking about mentioning here. They've been talking about online learning. One of the other initiatives of the New York Six is we have yet another grant. I think that one of the benefits of the organization is just that it really allows them to sort of apply for and process grant money and do a lot of really interesting initiatives. We have a Teagle grant for creating some online learning courses and collaborations. And so we had a recent meeting down at Union College, and there's going to be about 12 to 15 new courses, I believe, sort of sharing faculty. And of course, this is video is going to be a big part of that. Ensemble was tying into that in many ways, and having the system, just the ability to sort of share with the institutions, is going to work out really well.
I would say, again, for me, is having a system that's flexible, having a system in this environment in higher education where needs are changing constantly, having a way that we can respect some of the intellectual property rights. Everyone has, well, you know, I'm a systems guy, so things are pretty straightforward in my world, but when I deal with the academic side, everyone seems to have opinion about how their intellectual property should be managed, or others' intellectual property. And this system gives us a way to respect that, to be very granular about the security and the presentation and the delivery of that. And I think we're also feeling kind of the demand on higher education to do things efficiently and to do things in a collaborative way. And this was a really good way for us to kind of take a stab at tackling that very easily. So.
I think the last thing I would say is kind of piggybacking on what Derek said, is I think what SUNY has done and the New York Six is somewhat progressive. I mean, I'm not going from state to state hearing that people are collaborating and purchasing systems to reduce duplicate services in technology, duplicate investments in technology and hardware, and ultimately, hopefully, the goal is really to reduce all these extra efforts. So if you buy a system that's compatible with many tools or technologies in your digital media landscape, you're hopefully over time going to see a reduction in support calls, trying to coach up your users on managing multiple systems and training multiple systems. So, you know, I always want to give them a pat on the back because what they've done is unique. Some other states do have systems similar to what Ensemble's doing and SUNY is doing, but it is progressive to, you know, work together, especially, you know, SUNY and the New York six liberal arts schools getting together because they all have their own little silo that they're going to operate in. I worked at Syracuse University. The law school, the business school, and the school of communications did everything exactly the opposite. You know, that you want to centralize everything. It's impossible on a campus, and it's almost impossible in a consortium. But I think the key is finding something that's flexible enough to be compatible with different tools or technologies. And they did a good job at evaluating the different options on the table. So I think that's all I have.
Well, thanks, guys. Does anybody have questions for our panelists? Do you want to walk around? Good.
So my question is, I think you mentioned Echo and MediaSite. With respect to learning management system, when those things create their media object, it's a full, rich thing that's not like an MP4. My guess is that Ensemble deals with things that are more like MP4s. How do you resolve that decision that the student would make? Do I want this to be an MP4 or the full, rich media?
Right, so Ensemble deals with media files, which would be audio, video, or image galleries, or SWS. We don't deal with the packages from a Captivate, maybe something like Adobe Captivate. So usually it's the faculty member uploading it or the instructional designer uploading the content. So if they have Ensemble or another video platform, they understand what can go into the LMS through the plugin and be consumed by the students. So we don't do the SCORM compliance stuff yet. That's a big feature request, though, for sure. Good question. Another question? I'll go here and then I'll go there.
My question is dealing with adding and implementing interactivity among your among your video content. Have you had any faculty members with any specific request of adding quizzes, assignments, external links during a video presentation?
Embedded, just
Yes.
embedded into the video. We're just starting that right now. We have we have a full video production department, so we're working with them, with our instructional designers and the faculty to kind of roll it all together. I can't answer exactly how we're going to go about it because we're just testing a few different things right now. But what we've normally done is you watch a video, then you have to pop into a different content area, then you maybe pop back in, and we would like to avoid that. That's a great question. I'm sorry I don't have an answer for it right now, but maybe someone else. Ken, Doug, have you tried that?
So we're actually, I'm okay without the mic. We're actually in the same state Melaine mentioned. So we have, but quite honestly, it's far and few requests. So it is a limited number. So right now our resources are devoted more towards just getting the video in general in the online classroom. We have had a couple of specialists across the SUNY system. Some of our instructional designers have been piloting it in either their courses that they use to train faculty. But it right now comes down to, yes, they're using sort of the SCORM standard to do it. So they're limited to tools that are interactive with SCORM. But even that doesn't necessarily get them as far as they'd like to. So I think probably I'd say within the next year to two, all the standards and the video platforms will all sort of merge into be able to really do it in a very robust way. But we haven't found the perfect solution yet.
The one thing I would say too is Camtasia Relay and TechSmith's Relay can do quizzes on top of it. So we're seeing a lot of our customers use TechSmith Relay. EduCanon is another one. EduCannon or CANON is another one that's providing interactivity. But that's a big request, and people are trying to add, I would say, sprinkles on top of the video ice cream. They're trying to add more to it. Sorry. And I'm gonna skip ahead of you guys.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys had dealt with sort of or come up with a long-term data management strategy. So, we're kind of looking at systems like this, but a lot of the video that we have on our system currently is lectures that are associated with a specific course that runs for a few months and then kind of goes away. And that may be reused, but, when it comes to 10 years in the future, we expect that that's not going to be used very much. So how do you balance the needs for archive and video on demand? It sounds like you guys already know. No one wants this.
There is something that I had pitched was We have record keeping that only goes back 7 years. So we've joked about after 7 years, we're just going to dump it.
So I'm sort of the evil person because I balance academics and technology. So what we tend to do, so same deal, 7-year retention policy across SUNY, across most of the institutions. For the most part, honestly, things are archived much quicker than that. There are the options to keep certain select items longer, but they do require campus review processes. The reality is, for the most part, a year and a semester is what we do as our standard offering for almost any service. So, for example, and we try to do it around the calendar. So if you're an instructor teaching a fall course, we want to make sure that your fall content is available for your next fall course, because we all have courses that run once a year. That's pretty much the standard of how we've done it today. Then it's an exception thereafter.
I will say, I get this question a lot, and there's always a tug of war between the systems people who are managing the storage, the bandwidth, and doing the backups versus the academic side who really want things available forever. When I was at Syracuse, we kept everything because as soon as we delete something, somebody comes downstairs into our room and said, "Do you have that lecture from 1996 when the guy from BMW came in?" And that happens all the time. But there are retention features in different video platforms. A lot of times they'll say either remove the content after X amount of days. In a platform like Ensemble, the stuff is stored on a media server and it's embedded in an LMS. So you're not impacting the LMS side of things with Ensemble or some of the other video platforms. But that's a huge tug of war in all of our customers. It's like I'm in between it all the time. So I don't know if Derek has anything. You're a network guy, and Mike too. You got more to do than anybody.
Oh, I don't want this one at all. We actually try to get in front of this, in our initial conversations with the consortium, and because it was hosted, we kind of got a pass because right now they're paying for the storage. I think as things get used, we're still in the honeymoon phase. So as a general pool, we have lots of storage left over. But my sense is that it will follow the traditional LMS, like in our institution at Hobart and Willing Smith. We actually have data retention and management policies along with that. So my sense is that it's going to follow that. But on the other hand, we also have a conversation in our institution that revolves around preservation. So I don't know where those two lines are going to intersect. So stay tuned. Right now, I'm just enjoying this moment when I don't have to deal with it. I'm sorry.
So I would say buy stock in storage. Storage is cheap. Storage keeps getting less and less expensive. Depending on the model that you implement for Ensemble, for us, we're a recharge model. So you pay for the amount of storage you use. So the campuses are encouraged, incentivized to keep it lean and mean. And fortunately, there's reports you can run by organizations or by departments to let you see how much storage is being consumed. So you just have to manage it.
I was wondering if you could talk about your captioning processes. Who's taking care of that on the back end? How does that get deployed in the various LMSs? Is that something the faculty control? Is that something that you manage administratively and do for the faculty? And how does that get deployed in the system?
I can answer that briefly. We have a contract with AutoSync, which can integrate with Ensemble. And we just keep an open PO, and anytime an instructional designer adds content for a faculty member, it's automatically put through and captioned. So we have a very large accessibility initiative at SUNY Buffalo State, and all of our academic content is captioned. Recently, we started using Camtasia to do that. So we'll open the video and run Camtasia through. We have a few students in the summer, so that's why we've been able to do it. And then they'll clean the script up for us. If the video is something our video production department has captured, it's very easy to use Camtasia because the audio is just so solid. If it's something the faculty member recorded themselves, maybe using Blackboard Collaborate, sometimes the audio isn't so good. We'll run it through AutoSync and then help them clean it up. That's how we're doing it at my campus.
And I would also say Automatic Sync is something that we support. We have an integration with them, and they use real people to caption content. So you're going to get 99.9% accuracy from Automatic Sync. We do have customers using Camtasia Relay, doing the automated captions, but then there's the cleanup process. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. Telestream has a thing called Mac Caption, which it's an interface to watch the video and have student assistants maybe make the captions. But in Ensemble, there's a button that you can send a video to automatic sync, and 1 to 3 days later, your caption file will come back on top of the video. So there's other vendors like 3Play Media that have integrations with other online video platforms as well. So there's a lot of options, but we're trying, all the video platforms are trying to make that feature accessible. What's neat about ours is Melaine can give it to certain faculty members if they have a budget for it, and you can turn it off for certain faculty members so they're not shooting files to automatic sync because it costs money to caption files with people.
We've never spent more than $4,000 a year, I think, captioning. And one of the things that has helped us is if we make the video for that faculty member, we ask them to do the script, and then we'll just place it in there for them, which really does help with costs. I'm sorry, there was a question back there.
One more, and then one. Where was it?
There was a pink sweater question and then a back question.
Pink sweater.
Pink sweater. Red sweater?
Red. That's
Pink, red.
This is kind of for Doug. I like that you're a pretty face and an evil person all at the same time, so yeah.
Remember that, Kyle, the next time.
So with the online video strategy, one thing you really haven't touched on is it can be a beautiful thing or it can be a disaster. And how do you guys strategize to train your faculty about what to do? Because on our campus we have beautiful things, and then we have things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to shoot myself that this is even going out to our students. So how do you guys manage that?
So here's the luck of me. This is where I get to claim the tech guy status. So what we've developed as part of Open SUNY, and what SLN had historically, we used to call it our education team. Now it's our Center for Online Teaching Excellence. We have a series of instructional designers. We have multimedia specialists. We have a unfortunately 60-prong long rubric of what makes an appropriate online course. To go through all of that, not like we can change it, and the awkwardness, I'm not at a campus, I'm in SUNY system administration. So what we can do is we can provide feedback to say, here's what we saw, here's the materials, here's some recommended strategies. So I can't go in and clean it, I wish I could. Quite honestly, even looking back at the course I just taught, it probably should have been cleaned. But we do have an entire team for that, and all of our campuses also have similar resources. So as we have 20 years of experience in online learning, Melane's campus has a team of instructional designers that can go in and work with instructors. I think it goes back to what we were talking about before. It's that juggling act of IP is, will the faculty member let you do it? In a community college, the institution owns it. The faculty member has a little less say. In a state-operated campus, the faculty member has a little bit more say, and you really have to tread lightly. So very honestly, it is the same struggle, but we've just put the team of resources together to try to assist it.
You have that rubric, is that public?
It is, but I don't have it, so I can get it if you follow up with me and take a card.
Having best practices helps too. A set of best practices that the faculty can follow. We recently made, just slight funny story, made a faculty person watch their video to do his own script, and he decided he hated it, and then he started again. So I think it's 10:30. So I want to thank our panelists and thank you all very, very much for coming. I think we're going to be up here to answer questions if your question wasn't answered for you. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the conference.